Welcome back to the QB Huddle Podcast. I'm Tim Smith, joined by my podcast partner, as usual, Brandon Newey.
The winner of the challenge. Shout
He
out.
did win. We'll talk about that.
Yep. Sorry, I had to let you go.
We're here to talk all things quarterback all season long. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share button, and be sure to comment. Get involved. This week, folks, we have a very special treat. Being that it's Halloween week, we have special guest, Coach Shannon Harris, coach of the DC Defenders out of the UFL. Coach, how the heck are you?
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's great to be back on here with you guys. Everything going well, getting ready for another season. So, ready to talk some ball.
All right. Well, hey, you have been coaching quarterbacks, kind of doing what Brandon does a little bit at the high school level, but you've been doing it for folks of all ages, I assume, here in the quarterbacks in the Metroplex one-on-one. Tell the folks about your individual coaching and how's that going, and how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn from a professional coach?
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, around here in this DFW area, there's so much talent, of course. I mean, that's not even tapped into that since I've moved here. So the one thing that I started back in Nashville before moving here is that I want to give back to young players to help develop their tool set to help them get to that next level of from high school to college football, and even if you say middle school, to get you to the level of your fundamentals and get your fundamentals where they need to be to get you to high school. And once you get to high school, now when you get to college, you're ready to ball out. And wherever your talents take you from there, that's good by the grace of God. But the one thing that I've seen that is missing a lot of is those fundamentals. And, for me, while I have the time, by coaching in the UFL, all through the summer, all through the fall, I have that time to be able to help, young kids to where they want to go and develop their talents. But one way that I can be reached is from a Facebook standpoint, just my name, Shannon Harris. And then from Twitter. I don't have Instagram anymore. I need to get back on IG, but
that's where all the kids are. That's where all the kids are.
I know. I need to get back on there, man.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. If you look, you're never too old to have a coach. Tom Brady had a quarterbacks coach that was not part of the Patriots for his whole career. So it's always good to get that coaching outside of what you're doing, on a regular basis with football, because you do get that fundamentals, as you said. So good to see you doing that, Coach, and giving back to the community. Tell us how your UFL season went and what you expect from yourself and the Defenders coming up in 2025.
Yeah, and let me add this too. Before I move on to that, and my camera went off for a second. I don't know what happened, but my man down at Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, I had an opportunity to work with him in Nashville from his 9th grade year all the way up to his senior year in high school. So I was very fortunate to work with him on his development of his fundamentals. He was a basketball kid and baseball kid. He was all, wild west with that thing is from a quarterback perspective. But once we tightened that base up, once we got his fundamentals where they needed to be, the kids took off, in basketball and in football. So to see the fruits of his labor, come into existence now, being a redshirt freshman at Texas A&M, man, I'm proud of him. And along with a few other kids that I've worked with that's in college right now as well from the Nashville area. So definitely excited for them as well. But just wanted to add that part to there.
Yeah, it's good that you bring that up because he balled out this weekend. If anyone saw the game, he came in, was absolutely electric for Texas A&M, changed that game for them. And so kudos to you for the work that you put in with that young man.
Oh, absolutely, man. I appreciate that. But, yeah, so how the season for us, last season for the 2024 season for us, not what we had done the year before, but the one thing that we did do, and this is a league of opportunity for sure, and the one thing that we did do is we did a good job of, getting guys back into the NFL, giving them opportunity to go through preseason and to have take advantage of those type situations. And, one thing about it is it's going to always be some type of roster change every year, and we expect that. But the biggest thing for us is to develop the talent. If we don't have guys leaving and going back into the NFL, that means we're not doing a good job at all. So that's what it is for us. Of course, we want to win games and do it for our market for sure. That's first and foremost. But the second part of that is, you want to make sure that we're developing those guys and giving them that opportunity to get back into the NFL and not only get there, but stick for a long time.
Absolutely. And we're going to make sure we get some of those guys on this show this year. I got a chance to come out and see you guys practice last year. But we got to get Jordan on here. We got to get a few guys, a few more guys on here to talk ball with us. But speaking of football, let's get into it because we had a great weekend of college football. Brandon, I know you had some things you wanted to touch on specifically, so take over, man. College football, what excited you about this weekend and these quarterbacks like a Quinn Ewers that are supposed to be coming into the NFL, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders? Talk about it a little bit.
Well, it was an exciting college weekend. Colorado is bowl eligible.
How about that?
How about Prime turning that thing around? I mean, I know we go back a few weeks back, we were pretty frustrated, with them just not looking prepared. It's not that they lack the athletes, it's just the preparation, right? I feel like they have done a complete 180 here. And granted, it is the Big 12. Some people are discrediting them. Oh, they only beat Cincinnati. Well, that's a 5-2 Cincinnati team that can put up points. And, this is, what is this, the fourth consecutive week that they put up over 30-plus points against good teams, right? I mean, they went last week and routed Arizona in their homecoming, which we thought Arizona was going to be a really good team, especially with some of the offensive firepower that they have. And now you're throwing the conversation in, with Shedeur Sanders' performance. Is he considered for the Heisman? I think he is. I think you throw his name in there. I mean, the kid's been consistent since he stepped foot in college. Has he not?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't have an issue with talking about Shedeur Sanders for Heisman.
Not saying where he's going to win it.
No. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with the entire attitude that surrounds Prime in Colorado of everybody hates us. When we win, no one's happy. When we lose, everybody loves it. No one wants Sanders, Shedeur to be considered for Heisman because he's my son. I got to tell you, as a kid that grew up, late teenager, early adulthood, that loved Deion Sanders, absolutely electric, would always sit and make sure I watched whenever he was on, huge primetime fan. It gets old for me to hear everybody hates us because I don't know a single person. I don't have a single friend that has said, man, I really hate Colorado. Not a single one. Everybody I know absolutely loves Deion Sanders in Colorado.
We all got our Buffs hats on.
And so everyone hates us, blah, blah. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I feel like sometimes we have to do that. We have to create villains so that we can, when we have success, we can go, look at us. We had success. Just go have your success. Let the work show. Sure, Sanders could be in the Hall of Fame, but to me, it's still Hunter. It's still Travis Hunter. It's a one person race to me, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And by the way, Shedeur has Travis Hunter on his team, which is very, very helpful.
I mean, granted, the ball barely hit the ground last week.
No, I don't have an issue. I love Shedeur Sanders. I think he's a tremendous college quarterback. Will he be a great NFL quarterback? But he's a great college quarterback for sure.
Well, the thing about it is, and from any coach perspective, and you talk about the greatest coach and Nick Saban, you talk about as great as Michael Jordan, was, those guys like that, you have to create something to have an edge. You know what I mean? Sure. So as a fan or sometimes spectators, you look at it like, well, I'm tired of hearing that, I get it. But from a coach standpoint, you have to some kind of way create some environment in your locker room to be like, they're against us. So these kids can easily get unfocused. As an 18-year-old, 22-year-old kid.
I'm with you on that.
And, with the amount of money, especially they're making now. So you have to some kind of way to the media. And we're a media-driven based world now. Everything we do is social media. And, I think Nick Saban said it best, don't listen to the rat poison. Don't listen to all the people who tell you what you're doing great. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
for Coach Prime, I get it. I mean, and they're so talented. You're right, B,
They're
as far as
talented.
coming in. But I thought, it takes time. When you have a new roster,
Yeah.
but they did have the core group of guys there, meaning their quarterback and their skill set of guys. But that O-line, man, up front, that's where it's won at on both sides of the ball.
Every time.
So you can have all the talent in the world, but if it's not done right up front, and man, you're in a heap of trouble, brother. You're in a heap of trouble. But I think you got to create that in your locker room within itself, because this media will tear you down.
Well, going back to that, Coach, I'm going to say that the kids today and some of the coaches, I don't know when this happened, but, I come from a much older generation where criticism was part of it, and you took it. Nowadays, if you criticize somebody, if you say something that may be completely true, you're hating. Hey, guess what? This is sports. You're going to get criticized. You're going to get talked about, and sometimes it's not going to be favorable. You just have to eat that sometimes. And I feel like the younger generation of players, they don't take criticism so well. And it's, you're hating, you're hating, you're hating. No, man, I'm criticizing what I'm seeing with my eyes. It's not hate. I'm just saying what it is. Go ahead, Brandon.
So, just about the haters, there's plenty of Colorado haters. I hear it every day.
There you go, with
Right?
haters. Are they hating or are they criticizing?
JB show, right? We see these things, but JB's pointing out the real, but you know how Whitlock goes down the rabbit hole. I feel like he just has a distaste for
One guy doesn't stand for
Prime.
everyone, though.
I mean, one guy's got 1 million reaches. So, I
hear you.
mean, it goes a long way, and I feel like with Colorado, man, I feel like this turnaround has been very successful. Even if they lose every game next year, hey, you did better than what you did last year. I don't think they have been bowl eligible since like 2017 or something
Been a long
like that.
time. It's probably been since Cordell Stewart.
Nah, don't disrespect him like
I
that.
think I heard something like 2016 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's been a while.
2016, 2017, right?
Yeah.
So, will they have a shot to compete for the Big 12? I feel like the Big 12 conference, everybody's beating up on each other.
They
Everybody.
could win the Big 12.
They have a bye week, and then they go to the road on Tech. Now, if you're a Big 12 fan, you know how hard it is to play in Texas Tech. It's
No
just
doubt.
hard. It doesn't matter if you're big Power 5 OU or Texas. There have been many upsets in Lubbock, and so if they continue to stay this path with OSU being down, with a few other teams being depleted, they could find themselves in contention and go 10-2 and be in the Big 12 championship. I would love to see it. I'd love to see them in the college football playoff just to see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
right,
love to see it too.
Kudos to what they're doing and
No
what
doubt.
Prime's doing. I think it's keeping them hungry. I think they have taken on the attitude of Travis Hunter. And I said this in the beginning. Like, if you're going to compete, you have got to have that dog-like mentality like you're the best player in the country does. If you have that demeanor, you're going to compete because you're talented. And so I think they've taken that identity that Travis Hunter brings, and it's sprinkled all throughout. Travis has to realize he is the leader,
He really is.
right?
They
And
follow him
Shador
for
loves
sure.
him, but Shador has a lot of stuff on his plate, but that team feeds off of Travis Hunter, and it's really impressive to see, man. I'm locked in every Colorado game. Game gets damn near over at 1 a.m., and I'm still up. So I've enjoyed what Prime has done for that team and building it up. So hopefully he stays. But
How
did you
about
say
Texas?
Quinn Ewers? How about
Yeah,
him, Teal?
How about Texas surviving Vandy? And here's my question to both of you. Is Ewers the best quarterback in Texas right now, in Austin, on the Longhorns team? I'm going to say he's
Define
not.
best.
Is he the guy you would go with? You have two quarterbacks there that you could play right now, understanding Ewers came back for his senior year.
I apologize
The
for that.
way he's played the last 3 weeks, do you continue to play Quinn Ewers, and do you really feel like he is better than Arch Manning?
Who wants to go first?
You can take it, B.
All right. I'm going to say stick with Ewers. And the reason why I say this is because you have built that foundation off of him, right? From the very jump, right? He was one of Sark's first recruits, recruited him back to the home state from Ohio State. Quinn's won some big games. I mean, let's not take that away from him. Is he more athletic than Arch? No, he's not. Right? Arch, you could see this rawness. He has legs. He has a talent. He has a swag. But right now, this is one of those things where you don't want to jump the gun too fast. Because if you jump the gun too fast, not only will you send a message to your locker room, but you're definitely going to send a message to Quinn Ewers, who's like, hey, man, I don't trust it here anymore. I don't trust you. Why they took him out of that Georgia game, I don't know. Maybe they needed a spark, but the fact they put him back in, that's a little bit troublesome when it comes to a quarterback, because if you got two quarterbacks, you really ain't got none. That's how I see it. Right? Somebody's got to step up and take over, but I think right now you got to ride with Ewers just from a psychological standing. You have to, because if you take him out again, he may never be the same.
Well, psychological standing for who? For the team or for Quinn Ewers? Are you worried about
both.
Quinn Ewers' future?
Both. You got to think, man. You got to think. Manning still hadn't seen all the he doesn't have all the answers to the test yet. That game looked hella
like
fast when he jumped in Georgia. It looked hella fast. Listen, it looked real fast. Lights got low. It was like, oh, shit.
With that Sarkisian offense, that I'm going to agree with what you said earlier in the year. It's so gimmicky. It's a lot of, hey, you're throwing the ball here. There is no read. There is no – and what I see the difference when I see Arch Manning come in the game is there's still some of that gimmick stuff, but he does go through progressions a little bit more. He will come off that first read, go to his second, go to his third. I think he's more talented. Yes, he doesn't have the experience of a Quinn Ewers, but I think his talent would make up for that. Quinn Ewers, to me, looks gone. Bro. He looks gone. I don't even know that this Quinn Ewers can play at the next level, to be honest with you. He doesn't look like the Quinn Ewers
quarterback out and put him back in.
All right. Well, once they moved off him, I didn't expect them to go back. Coach, where are you at?
Quarterback coach, tell us about this psyche. This thing is real.
It is a psyche for some. I think, and you're right, it's real. I do, and I hear the guys on ESPN say this all the time, and I disagree with this wholeheartedly. And I think you said it, B. But when it's said, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, I don't believe in that theory or in that saying, because I do believe there's times to where some quarterbacks can kind of work off each other, right, and create a spark. I mean, like we just talked about Texas A&M, they've done it. It just there's time to where a starter go in, and he may not be playing well or seeing it as well at that point in time. And then that next guy come in and give a spark. It's like 2-point guards on basketball. You got the guy that just distribute everything good, slow pace, and then you have a fast-paced guy that come in and get the ball rolling that way. So I do believe, and we had two quarterback system with us in D.C. 2 years ago with Jordan Ta'amu and De'Aaron King. And we played them both and rode them both the entire season, and it worked out great for us. So I just believe that if you have a good system to fit both of them, like the whole thing with the Steelers, it can work. I believe.
Right.
Come down to this back stretch with the Steelers and what they're about to do, I believe they're going to have a two-quarterback system. And it's going to work to perfection because Justin Fields going to take over in the red zone. To that point, with the Texas situation, I think they should ride with Quinn here. Was it Ewers?
Yep.
I think they should ride with him. I mean, Georgia's different, man. And I know Georgia was not going to come in there. My nephew played running back for Georgia, and he was part of Kirby's first recruiting class when he got there. And so I followed those guys a long time. And one thing I knew about that coaching staff, Kirby and his coaching staff and that football program, they're going to always bounce back some kind of way, And so if you have them on your schedule after a loss, hey, you're in for a rude awakening. So right. One thing, so for that game, whoever went back there at quarterback was going to have a tough outing. Let me just say that.
Sure.
That's fair.
Yeah, sure.
But yours, I like what he brings to the table. I don't think by no means he's a first-round draft pick guy. I don't think a good bit of these guys are, in my opinion.
I agree.
I
Yeah,
think
we got a weak quarterback class for sure.
Yeah, I even said it last year. There's only probably two guys should have been a first round draft pick last season, or in the year before that. So just because they're available don't mean you got to take them. Heck, and I play quarterback, and I wish I could
Right.
can be taken first, second, and third all the way to seventh. But to stick with them, let them fight through those battles. I don't think you need to go as far as like my man at Syracuse did last week against Pitt. That was brutal. But with the 5 interceptions and 3 pick six.
Well, I think, man, to attest to what you guys did with the defenders, just that quarterback room's got to be real tight because sometimes those things get misinterpreted, miscommunicated, misunderstood, to where it's like, why'd you take me out?
Yes.
And you know the way the NIL works, and as far as just bouncing around to a next team and another team, and you got to think, if you do that again, do you play with that mental side with Ewers, and he's just like, you know what, I'm out this season? What if he goes and lays an egg before the playoffs hit, and he has one of those situations where Sark is like, hey, man, I need you to come out, and we're putting Arch in. Now you got the fan base behind Arch. Now you got the team behind Arch. Now you feel like, oh, this is your second pull this season. Your psyche could be gone unless it's understood like, hey, Arch does things a little bit better than you in these situations specifically. However, you do these a little bit better than him specifically, and maybe they can have that 2 quarterback mesh, but also does that drop Ewers stock when it comes to the NFL?
I think in
it's
Texas,
a lot of factors.
With the 2 quarterbacks, I think, you touched on it, the fan base is drooling, waiting, begging for Arch Manning to enter the game. And so as soon as that switch comes, you can feel that as the quarterback. It's got to be hard for Quinn. He knows now that even though he's the guy, all 100,000 people in that stadium want Arch Manning to be the quarterback, not Quinn. And he's got to deal with that on a daily basis. It's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's got to be hard.
Yeah, but that didn't just start now. I mean,
that was last year too.
Right.
Well, I'm saying that's been all throughout a life of football. So you have to be taught, I've been through that situation before where I was that guy who was behind the starter. You know what I mean? And everyone wants you to come in, and it's like, well, all right, he's doing well. He's doing okay. Let him stay at it, Let him keep getting better. But I will say this. When doing that, it's either, to your point, B, from a mental standpoint, it's either going to cause you to play worse or it's going to cause you to play better.
Rise up.
Fire in your head, yeah.
So that should tell me from an NFL standpoint where this guy lies for sure.
Yeah.
He's who we thought he was from a mental standpoint.
Right.
We all know as a quarterback position is all here.
It's all there. It's all mental.
Watching them play against Georgia, and when I look at quarterbacks coming into the league, I like to watch them play against defenses that replicate NFL-style defenses. And watching him play against Georgia gave me no hope that Quinn Ewers is a bona fide NFL franchise quarterback. But Cam Ward just might be that. And he took his Miami Hurricanes and walked over Florida State this past weekend. I think what Cam Ward is doing with a minimal roster around him is absolutely outstanding. To me, each week he continues to prove to be the best starting quarterback in college to me, just because of he doesn't have tremendous talent around him, right? It's just Cam Ward and a bunch of guys with Miami uniforms on. So I feel like, to me, Cam Ward is doing more with less than any quarterback in the country.
They got some dudes, bro.
They don't have a Travis Hunter on their team. They don't have.
Nobody does.
I'm just saying I feel like he's doing more with less than Shador, than Ewers, than Beck. He's doing more with less than any of those guys that we talk about and put up on a pedestal, which I'm taking all those quarterbacks. Beck, I'm taking him off the pedestal. I'm taking Ewers off the pedestal. I feel like Cam Ward has ascended, in my opinion.
Yeah, I never saw any of those guys being up there, to my honest opinion. Ewers, I never saw it. Beck, I never saw it. Cam, I love what he's doing, but he's he's way
careless.
He's too careless with that football, man. And
you would eat her very slow.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's an NFL guy for sure, but he does have the mentality, in my opinion, to fight to galvanize his teammates, to make people around him better. He seems to have all that, even with all those flaws that you talked about, Brandon. Maybe Cam Ward needs to come work with Coach Harris for just, I don't know.
Maybe so. I mean, he's got to get acclimated. You got to think, man. I mean, it's the style of offense too. I'm not a fan of these college offenses when they're just so lazy and getting back in their drop. Like, get to it, man. Throw on time. Like, it's a timing game, and if you can't figure out the timing game in college, how are you gonna figure it out in the NFL?
Yeah, you're right. You're right,
For
man.
XFL, like it's fast.
I would love to see some of these guys, with their drops marry up with the concept. I don't see that a ton
At all.
Like you talk about with timing and rhythm. But to the coaches, to what they do, and for the players, I mean, they're great at what they're doing and getting away with it in college.
Sure.
And you play to your strength in college for where you are, but you want to see some of those things that they do now. You want to see if it'll fit for the next level, and it's like, I don't know.
Right.
I'll be honest, Coach. The only person that I've seen that plays quarterback on time within the offense, and it's boom, 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 is Dylan Gabriel.
Well, him,
that ball is out. Gone. Wait,
Jackson Dart does too. Jackson Dart does a good job.
I haven't seen Jackson enough yet. I haven't seen him enough.
I like Dylan, but I'm telling you,
he's small though too, isn't he?
Shador is pinpoint accurate, man.
But Shador does a lot of Caleb Williams stuff. He does a lot of running around.
He's got time to set his
not
feet.
Good, but he doesn't do a lot of stuff on time, which concerns me for Shador.
But remember, we had this conversation last year, and we talked about the Caleb Williams situation. Yeah. And we said if this kid would play on time and rhythm, he's deadly. And he's starting to do that for pro football.
There. Yes.
He's starting, and that's what I see in Shador. To your point there, Tim, and I'm with you. He is like that a little bit. But when you also see when he's on time and playing with rhythm, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He's got great mechanics. He stands in there. He gets it. It doesn't matter.
We
like
talk
a
about
quarterback who can stand and get hit in the face and deliver a dart. That lets me know you're a quarterback now.
We talk about kids at the next level and looking at college, watching these games to see if they'll translate. I think the problem in high school and college is that these coaches have gotten lazy and they don't put a lot of time into the fundamentals with these quarterbacks, and they just go, okay, we're going to run this 4 or 5 wide, and you're throwing to number 1, or you're running the ball, or you're throwing to number 1 or 2, or you're throwing the ball out of bounds. Whatever it is, it's very lazy coaching. I see it in high school coaching these games. The only team is the team that I coach in Marcus that actually puts their quarterback under center and allows him ability to check at the line of scrimmage. The other schools aren't doing that, right? They got a guy in shotgun. He's clapping his hands. If it's an audible, they're looking to the sideline for the audible. And so they're not giving these kids the tools to be NFL quarterbacks. They're just not. Right. And I think, Tom Brady mentioned this. Football is becoming a bad product. Quarterback play is down across the board. It's because they're just not being prepared. These coaches are lazy. Alabama doesn't even have a quarterbacks coach. Like, how do you not have a quarterbacks coach to teach these kids? You just let them play on talent. What's going on with Milroe in Alabama to me is criminal. Just because you got a guy with all these physical traits, you just let him loose. And where's the tutelage? Where is the grooming of this quarterback to let him have a successful career at the next level? I don't see it.
Right. No, I agree with you.
It's all bad. Brandon, you see it with the kids you work with.
Just off a couple of picks, you dogging Milroe now? Nah.
You know how I feel about Milroe.
He still needs to clean it up, man. I still think he's a stud. But the good part about it for Milroe, what he's got going for him, is he's getting a lot of reps.
He's another great
high picks, similar to AR5, we'll talk about later on the show. They don't have a lot of reps coming in, right? This guy's going to have a whole, full 3 seasons?
But he
may stay back.
I don't know.
To continue to develop.
He's going to have to.
You're $1 million making NIL money.
He looks like a poor man's Jalen Hurts to me in the NFL.
Don't do that.
That's why I think of Milroe in the NFL right now. Right now, that's where he's at. That's where he's at. That's where he's at. Now they had a big win. I want to ask you both: Alabama with a huge win over Missouri. Is that significant, or is Missouri overrated and overranked?
Overrated, overranked.
I agree.
I don't want to call them overrated because they did go, they did limp into that game with so many defensive guys out. So and then the quarterback goes out with an injury, right? So
I didn't know that. Oof,
yeah, the quarterback went out. Yeah, he went out with
overrated over here.
Yeah, with the injury. So again, you talk about there's a culture that's been set at Alabama too. So at the same time, you got to know that those guys gonna come back with a vengeance. You know, after being where they were the past couple of weeks or what have you, and losing to Vandy, barely beating whoever that was the next week, and then losing to UT. So let me not say UT out here in Texas. I'm losing to Tennessee.
Right. People know, but yeah, you will get people confused pretty quick. Well, let's go on. That was fun. Love talking about college, but let's talk about what we're really here to talk about, and that's the NFL games. Folks, the Cowboys 49ers played. I lost a bet to Brandon, and the bet was that the loser would wear the other team's jerseys. I have no analytical reason why this will happen, except that this is what I want to happen. The Cowboys are going to come into 49er land and beat y'all ass. That's what's about to happen.
We're still y'all's daddy at the end of the day.
So,
we're still big brother and y'all are little brother.
So let's make the bet. Loser wears the other team's jersey on the podcast next week.
Oh,
are you gonna take it? Or
I don't like this, man. Of course I'm going with it, man.
All right, there we go.
Damn it.
There we go.
Come on, Brock. Come on, defense.
So I have, in fact, ordered a Terrell Owens throwback 49ers jersey.
Oh, that's a nice one.
I'm a man of my word. As soon as that jersey comes in, I will wear it on the show. Should be next week. I just didn't have anything 49ers to wear. So
let's meet up and get a 49er hat to you too, man. Put that on with pride.
I don't look good in hats.
All right, man. You wear hats all the time.
We're going to talk about this game just a little bit. Newey, you're up first. I'm going to let you talk about your 49ers in the win.
Sure.
And then things are going to get really ugly on this show. So go ahead and discuss your 49ers.
Well, let me start out by saying, hey, great win, fellas. Not that we needed it, but we did need it a little bit. I think y'all need a little bit more than us. But because if we lost, it's imploding, right? 24-30. We almost let you come back. Like, this is what we're known for with Banana Hands.
That's what we do.
He almost gave it away again. There was a situation where you just run the ball with Garrindo and you throw the ball 3 times and literally give you the ball back to make a comeback. And this is what you guys do. You're really good at this. You've done this in the past. You've come back down from 28 down. Like, you guys know how to do that.
Yeah, we're great at making
saying about this team. I was like, do not let them come back. This is what they do. Man, it was a good game. I mean, 4 straight, win against the Cowboys is always good for bragging rights, right? 469 yards of total offense. Purdy did very well. I think he was over 70% completion. Got rid of those turnovers. That was a clean game. That's all I wanted to see. I didn't need you to be superhero, Brock. Have a clean game. Deliver the mail. Purdy outrushed your entire Cowboys offense, by the way. Not bad for a last pick in the draft.
For a game manager.
Yeah,
not bad for a game manager.
But one thing that really stood out to me from a Niners perspective, we were over 50% on third down, which in the past we've been like 20, 30. And then we were 3 for 4 in the red zone. We struggled. We're like one of the worst red zone teams in the league right now. But we were 3 for 4 in the red zone. We got a bye week. CMC will come back against a beat up Tampa Bay team, so I'm pretty fired up about it. Will we make a turn? Yes, but I'm cautiously optimistic about this season. I just think that we've seen this story before, but we've never seen it this depleted. So I don't know if we're going to have the nuts and bolts to really push and make a playoff run, but I'm happy we beat y'all. And Roman got to see it for the 4th time. Fantastic. So every time Roman watches the game, my little guy, the Niners end up winning. So, hey, We got to
Okay.
stick to that. But he did mention, he was like, Dad, the Dallas Cowboys are my second favorite team. I was like, because of Grandpa. I was like, what? I don't know how we're going to juggle this as a family, but we'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
All right, man, I'm going to let you just spill the beans, both of you guys. I'll just let you spill the beans, and
Well,
I'll mute myself
listen, now, Coach and I are here to debate about Dak Prescott, and we're going to get into that. But before we get to Dak Prescott, we got to talk about some other stuff, because this is what I saw in the game, and here's my conclusion of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry is the GM. That's the biggest problem in Dallas. If Jerry Jones does not fire himself, the Cowboys will not win, period. We are cursed for what we did to Jimmy. The biggest problem is that we won the Super Bowl with Jerry being gone. We won with Jerry's team, with a different coach. I won't even say his name because he's a clown. And then here we go. Jerry thinks that he is the reason that they won that Super Bowl, and he thinks he can do it again. Jerry, you can't. You can't be the owner, the coach, the coordinator, and the GM, and the spokesperson of the Dallas Cowboys. Pick one. And for all of our sakes, please just pick to be the damn owner. Please. So that's the biggest problem. Next problem, O-line, horrible. Run game doesn't exist. Dak is not Josh Allen. He can't just go out there and do shit by himself. He's not Superman. He's not. He's a guy that needs a lot of talent around him, like most quarterbacks. And there's none. Well, there is some. We have a good receiver core. Running backs, trash. O-line, trash. Defense, terrible. It's hard to play defense, though, when you're on the field the whole game because your offense can't get a first down. Because even when Dak has opportunities to make plays in the big games, he doesn't make those plays. Dak is overpaid by at least $100 million. All he cared about was getting paid. The Cowboys don't want to win. Here's my assessment. They're the Cubs of the NFL. And let me reiterate, I grew up in Chicago. I grew up a Sox fan because they cared about winning. They didn't always pack the stadium, but they cared about winning, and they won. The Cubs, however, packed the stadium every single week. Most lucrative franchise in baseball, never won a game, never did anything. Maybe not in baseball. The Yankees probably have that. But, bro, this is a team that never won anything and had a national TV contract where everyone around the country loved the Cubbies, the lovable losers. That's who the Dallas Cowboys are now. We're the lovable losers. Everybody loves us. We'll spend all the money. We'll go to the stadium. We'll have a great day. Well, win or lose, who cares? Win or lose, who cares? By the way, Dak Prescott had a 39.2 QBR in this game against 49ers, regardless of the 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. It didn't matter. Dak is trash. Simple. In big games, his eyes get about this damn big. I'm tired of seeing it. I want to see a quarterback that steps up in the big games. We used to have one. He wore number 9. He never was out of a game. He threw 5 interceptions in a game and still won the game. Dak, I need you to do better, bro. You've had 3 multi-interception games in a row. 3. He had 9 interceptions all last year. You've already got 8. I'm waving the white flag. The Cowboys season is over. We're not going to win the division. All right? I don't think we're going to do shit till Jerry Jones passes on and Dak Prescott is retired. Can't wait for those days. Let's get into it. What do you got,
Ooh, man.
Put some AC on.
Frustrating.
Right, man. Get the ice packs, right?
Yeah, my God.
Go
You need a bib with that.
those seats, man.
I mean, did I say anything that was wrong, or did I lie about anything about what I'm saying about the Dallas Cowboys organization?
You were 50-50.
50.
I don't think he's trash.
Yeah, you were 50.
In big games, he's trash. He's decent to average in regular games, but he's terrible in the big games. Name me a big game that this man has showed up and balled out.
What's considered a big game?
Anytime we played the 49ers, anytime we've been in the playoffs at home against the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. Come on.
But a lot of quarterbacks look like that versus us.
A lot of people have lost to the 49ers.
A lot of quarterbacks look like that, man. Not named Joe Burrow or Pat Mahomes.
Dak Prescott, his current QBR is 47.5. He isn't athletic anymore, so he doesn't have legs. He can't run out of trouble. He's become Tim Tebow without the athletic ability. Period. 1 read's not there. 2 read, I'm going to just throw it. Okay, it's intercepted. That's cool. Okay, I threw it to nobody. That's cool. The last 5 games, he's 121 of 191, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
He's been waiting on this one.
We got the second highest paid receiver in all of football. And Dak Prescott is the highest paid player in the history of the game. You got to elevate some folks if you want to get that kind of money, man. Got to elevate some folks.
Did they not earn it?
No, what has Dak done to earn the highest paid player in the history of football? What has he done?
Is that his fault, or was that his GM fault for waiting that long to decide to pay him?
Well, we already paid him. We already gave him the big contract. What was that, 3 years ago? And he hasn't made good on that. To me, if you get that big deal, you're one of the top paid guys, and you have a roster that the Cowboys have had. If you can't get a couple playoff wins, maybe get to an NFC championship game, you haven't lived up to your $42 million a year. You just haven't.
So that's the issue right there, I think. I think people keep looking at money compared to the player playing after what he's done to get that money. Now, also to that is that he didn't wait or mismanage the situation to pay himself. He didn't write the check for himself. His GM did that, right? The same thing for the receiver and the same thing with the D-line, with the number 11, Micah. So my point in saying all of this, okay, that's just from a money standpoint comparing to, everyone want to say, well, he's making all the money, then he got to elevate someone. Well, I can't elevate a mouse to be 6 foot tall and to look over the counter. I can't do that. And my point in saying that is, when you're given a deck of cards, that's what you dealt with. That's what you got. And so what he has is not the best hand been dealt. Let me say this. They don't even try to run the ball. At least run it back to back at times. They don't even do that. And so in that last drive, to the point we were just talking about, they ran the ball one time and got 5 to 6 yards, and everything was a pass after that. When they throw the ball, it's like 7-on-7. There are some tight windows.
And it's crazy they throw the ball that much because it's been proven. I've said it on this show a million times. When Dak Prescott throws the ball over 37 times in a game, they don't win that game.
Well,
they're like 8-19 when he throws the ball more than 37 times.
Jared Goff threw the ball for the 3rd game in a row, maybe 18 times.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
But they put an emphasis on running the ball.
Run the ball, man.
They're good up front. They play passes really good. And they're not now, the other part with the Cowboys is the same thing with the Jets. They're not creative enough.
Oh, they're not.
They have no creativity. So again, for any quarterback in the National Football League that play with the Cowboys right now, unless you are Mike Vick with so athletic ability and you running other things or Lamar Jackson, whomever, to get out of harm's way. It's not Dak's fault because he had an injury and he can't move the way he used to move. Okay. But look at how creative and look at what a great of a job that, even Pittsburgh right now doing. Look at also what the Atlanta Falcons doing with Kirk Cousins. So, when you put talent around these guys, and Kirk Cousins got a lot of talent. He had some in Minnesota and he got some in Atlanta. When you're able to do that, man, and be able to run the football and to be able to, in order to win a Super Bowl or get to a Super Bowl or NFC Championship, you better be elite first on defense. 1, 2, you better be able to run the football. And 3, your play pass better be exceptional.
Okay. Let me take you backwards. Coach, because we're living in the now with what Dak has now. Right?
Yes.
And he has a decent receiver core. He's got a good tight end. He's got a poor offensive line. I don't think the scheme is very good, particularly for his skill set. And you're right, they don't try to run the football. But let's go back to his rookie year and all the way for the first 4 years of his career when he had a Zeke Elliott at top level, when he had a top offensive line that was put together for Tony Romo, when he had a top 5 defense each and every year, and never got to where that roster should have gotten to. Never. Not even.
Did Tony Romo do it?
Now if you want to bring up Romo, we can do that, because the only time Romo had a team was.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Because, and I'm a Tony Romo fan.
Okay.
We had battles against each other in college. So I'm a Tony Romo fan. And his rosters before was just as good, if not better, when he played.
Disagree. And I'm gonna go back. The only time he had a really good team was 2007. They had a really good team in 2007. And if you look back at that game, the Giants game, you'll recall that he did go down and score what should have been the winning touchdown, and then they the defense of the Cowboys allowed Eli Manning to go right down the field and score the touchdown.
Before you finish, name me all the top receivers that Tony Romo had, along with the tight ends that he had, along with the game that he had, along with the running backs that he had.
I get you, but he only had that 3 or 4 years out of his whole career, not to mention the injuries he sustained because of not having an offensive line in front of him until 2014. So in 2014, they have the team, and I think we can all agree on this panel, they beat the Green Bay Packers. They got robbed in that game.
No.
So, I mean, Dez caught the ball. There's no question about that.
He didn't catch the ball.
He certainly caught the ball. And then the next year when he was poised, or 2 years later when they are poised and ready to go, he's coming off injury. He gets injured again. The team that Dak lost to Green Bay with in his rookie year, Tony runs through that team. I don't know why we didn't start him in that game. My point is that Dak has robbed Jerry twice, and it's Jerry's fault. Jerry, at this point, we should have let Dak go somewhere else. We should have let him play out this year contract, and we should have gone into a complete rebuild with CD and Micah Parsons as the cornerstones, because Dak's already shown you what he's going to give you. And for the next 4 years, we've got a quarterback that has already given us his best and hasn't been able to get to where we need to go, because Jerry was too afraid to say, you know what, I was wrong. I was wrong about Dak Prescott. He doesn't want to admit he was wrong. So not only did he not start Tony when Tony was healthy, which was the biggest blunder in NFL history to me, because you ruin the opportunity for us fans to enjoy a Super Bowl. You ruin the opportunity for Tony Romo to get him a well-deserved Super Bowl for everything he did for us in his career. And now we've been finessed by number 4, who never should have got the job to begin with. If you remember, Kellen Moore being hurt allowed Dak Prescott, the number 3 quarterback, to get his opportunity to be the number 1 guy. And yeah, he has done great with it in the regular seasons. He has had great rosters, though. He has been treated to a playoff roster every year in his career up until this year. That is my point.
Did Tony Romo not have a playoff roster?
I can think of 3 or 4 seasons Tony Romo had a playoff roster, and yes, did he play as good as he could have in some of those games, in those playoff games? No, he didn't. But in some of those games, he did everything possible to win a game, and it just didn't go his way, much like what happens to Josh Allen or everyone that plays against Tom Brady or everyone that goes up against Patrick Mahomes right now. He had some of those for sure, but, Coach, when you look back and look at his numbers and you would watch some of those games, he was doing everything Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. He was doing everything those guys were doing, and he was playing at an extremely high level. We don't see Dak Prescott doing everything a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson can do. We don't talk about him in those realms.
That's the thing. He's not those guys.
He's not an elite quarterback.
Okay, but there's another tier of guys who's good enough to win your Super Bowl, and Dak Prescott is good enough. It takes every part around you to do that.
He's not good enough anymore is my point. He's past it.
He is good enough to be that.
He's good enough, Tim.
What have we seen it? We've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Hold on. In 8 years of Dak Prescott, what's this, his 9th year or 8th year? I don't even know.
This is 8th year.
This is 8th.
Okay, so how many years did Tony Romo play and start?
14.
He didn't play all 14.
But he
had 2-4, 9-7, 9-7, 13-3, 8-5, 11-5, 8-8, 8-8,
Okay.
8-7.
Totally different teams. We can't. Let's not forget the coaching carousel that went on in Dallas during that time.
No.
Keep that same energy. He had good teams.
Listen, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Coaching situation matters. If Sean Payton stayed in Dallas and not gone to New Orleans, we wouldn't be talking about Tony Romo not having Super Bowl rings. We wouldn't.
You can say the same thing for Dak Prescott right now.
Okay, well, I still wouldn't have paid him $250 million to go 12-4 and lose the first playoff game every single year. I still wouldn't do it.
We gotta take the money
Romo
out of
did
it.
the same
We gotta
thing.
take, we gotta take the money
I
out
can't
of it.
take the money out of it because the cap hits that we're going to get, he's never going to have the talent around him, Coach, that you want him to because he didn't take the Baker Mayfield deal. He didn't take the Jared Goff deal. He took the I'm the best player in the league deal, and now there's not going to be any talent around you your entire last 4 years.
Who
You
falls?
realize Dak? Go ahead.
I'm done.
Go ahead. Okay. You realize Dak, and this is his 9th season. You realize he's had 1, 2, 3.
Give me the numbers. Keep reading, B.
5, 6. He's had 6 winning seasons.
I understand that. And
only been
when,
playing for
when
8
he's got to the
years.
playoffs in those seasons, what has happened? My problem
What has
with Dak
happened with
Prescott
Romo?
is he never plays good against the big teams. Romo always played good in the playoffs. He always played good in the playoffs. It was the
Not
defense
true.
that always let him down. Very true. I'm sorry he dropped the snap in Seattle, but he shouldn't have been the damn holder. You're going to get me fired up. Starting quarterback is never the holder. Am I right, Coach? Am I right, Coach?
Until he's not.
All right.
I helped.
Woo! That was a lot of fun. That was the most fun I've had on the QB Huddle podcast, and we could do this for probably 2 more hours, but we can't. We owe too many other quarterbacks love. Coach, great debate with you. I still don't think we've come to an answer yet, but
I think Coach won that debate.
here we are. 4 more years of Dak Prescott, and I guess we'll see at the end of those 4 years who won.
So you said Romo always played great, huh?
Go Colorado.
Here we go.
Well, I'm on him. I'm on
Here
him.
we go. Here we go.
I mean,
You're looking for something and you can't find it. You're looking
did
for something
all right.
you can't find.
he did all right. I mean, he had 8 touchdowns to 2 picks. However, in those crucial games that I'm looking at, he threw those picks.
I'm going to come back and say what Coach said. It takes everyone to win in those games. Coaching, defense, special teams, everybody.
Don't get me wrong. He had a 93% rating. Okay, 8 touchdowns to 2 picks.
Dak's
in
never
6
touched
playoff
that in
games
the
in his career.
playoffs. So
But
Hey, before you move on to the next topic, let me say this.
go ahead, Coach.
In 12 years of Tony Romo starting, right? And this is with injuries and everything. And Dak Prescott, 8 years of starting. Dak Prescott numbers will shatter.
You're right. The game has changed, though. And you know that. If Dan Marino played today, he'd have double the numbers that he put up in his career.
well,
right?
Dak has a
the game is different.
91.8 QBR rating to Tony
Game has
Romo's
changed. Game has changed.
14 TDs, bro.
The game has changed significantly. Let's get into the rookie watch because, the new wave is here. Speaking of the game has changed. And what a game we were thrilled to watch with Washington versus Chicago. I'm going to say this off the top, fellas. I think the Hail Mary, I know that the Hail Mary is the luckiest play in all of sports. I wish that we could find a way to take it out. I don't like the fact that we hold all of our flags in. There's no holding. There's no pass interference. It's, just do whatever you want to do, and let's see what happens. I hate the Hail Mary. I hate that the Bears once again lost on a Hail Mary. They've done it so many times. But what a game up until that point. Jaden Daniels, 21 of 38, the 1 touchdown. Caleb Williams, 10 of 24, but his stats don't tell the story because if you watch the game,
46%, that ain't good enough.
no, but that doesn't tell the story again
I'm just
because if you
trolling.
watch the game, that Commander defense, first of all, very, very good. The Bears' offensive line is extremely bad. But what Caleb did in the fourth quarter, fellas, showed me that the Bears have a quarterback. Regardless of how the game ended up, because, what the Hail Mary, Caleb Williams is the real deal, in my opinion, because the handoff to the O-line, he probably should have called a timeout and said, Coach Eberflus, we're not running that play. I'm sorry. Brandon, if I would have told you to hand off to a backup center on the 1-yard line, you would have told me we're not running that play. Caleb should have told the coaches we're not running that play. But otherwise, I thought Caleb showed me he's the real deal. What did you guys think coming out of that game?
Go ahead, B.
The real deal?
I mean, this the
I
fourth
think
quarter.
he's got some growing pains, brother.
Of course he does. But he
10
put the team on his
completions in an
back.
NFL football game.
He put the
He's got
team
some
on
work
his
to do.
back, bro, in the fourth quarter.
When it mattered, when it mattered the most, the Rook showed up, which is great.
That's all
But
I'm saying.
Once again, you're 10 and 24, dude. That's not good. Like, we have to sustain drives, right? That is our job as quarterbacks. Sustain drives. Get your team in the end zone, right? He had a big game in London. That was phenomenal. right? Now, when the game's on the line, did he deliver? He did, right? But there still are some questionable things that he was doing, running around 20 yards back, taking a sack for 30 yards back. I mean, come on, man. Throw the damn ball away, right? There's still things that he can do. I feel like Jaden is a lot more in control from an offensive perspective because Cliff Kingsbury is really catering to his skill set, and I love
Coaching
that.
matters.
He's taking what he was extremely successful with in LSU and implementing that, and I love to see it. I think at this point, Jaden's miles ahead of Caleb.
See, let's not live in the prisoner.
That's just my opinion, though.
Let's not be a prisoner of the moment, though, because Jaden didn't completely.
I'm not. He didn't have to throw a touchdown.
He didn't completely outplay Caleb. He is ahead of Caleb, but he also has a better team around him. He also has better coaching, I think.
No.
You don't think Cliff Kingsbury's a better coach than whatever they got going on in Chicago?
No, and they don't have a better team offensively for sure.
No, not offensively, but defensively. I think
What?
there's
one of the best defenses in the league.
No, from the offensive line perspective, I think is where I'm talking about. Yes, the skill players are better in Chicago, but that offensive line is terrible, absolutely terrible. They were getting run through
They were
on
both
Sunday,
running the ball exceptionally well.
but they were getting run through in pass, and they've been getting run through in their pass protection all year. Caleb is having to do a lot of stuff on his own.
I've seen Chicago be very good at scheming up some things. And Caleb, and I think Bill Belichick said it, Caleb threw some balls in some bad situations and puts the ball in harm's way a good bit.
He does. No, he does. Jaden is ahead of Caleb. Don't get me wrong.
Has he
I don't
grown
think it's by miles, though.
Yeah, has he grown a lot this year? Absolutely. And I'm loving what I'm seeing, because that's what we talked about before is that, we want to see him play on time, play within the system,
Right.
things like that. And he's done that a good bit this year. But, Jaden has done a great job. It's not a rookie quarterback that came into the league have been set up better than Caleb.
I agree. He's got weapons, man.
With a weapon perspective, but
it's all
I
about
think
throwing a rhythm, and he doesn't do it still. He does it a
the
little
coaching
bit.
match isn't there, though. I would love to have landed Cliff Kingsbury in Chicago with Caleb.
And up until this year, we never gave Cliff Kingsbury no credit in the NFL.
Nope.
Who didn't?
No one did, especially
No
in
one did.
Arizona.
No
As
one
the
did.
head coach.
His relationship with Kyler Murray seemed somewhat stressed, but his first couple of years, he was very innovative. People were loving what he was doing. I think he's doing great with Jaden. I think he's doing he's an offensive coordinator coach. He's not a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator.
I 3,000% agree with you on that. But my point I'm saying is, up until this year, and to your point, what you just said, Cliff Kingsbury have shown what he truly is in the NFL. He is a big time offensive coordinator.
Correct.
It's kind of like the quarterback situation we talked about, taking the start out, putting the backup in. I guarantee you, the next stint for Cliff Kingsbury, he will be a better head coach going forward and know how to handle the situation of being a head coach and a play caller.
But maybe he shouldn't take it. Maybe, like I say all the time, I was a head coach once. I've been an offensive coordinator several times. I am not a head coach. I'm an offensive coordinator. That's my sweet spot. And, for some guys, it's a stretch to do something different. Some guys are coordinators. Some guys are position coaches. Some guys are meant to be head coaches and leaders of men of that stature. I think NFL head coach, you got to be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, right? A counselor.
But
you got to do all those things.
But you look at the amount of head coaches in the NFL right now, or being the play caller on both sides of the ball now. Like it's never been done a lot on defense. But now you see a lot of head coaches and defensive coordinators now calling their own shot.
Nico,
a few. You see it up in Tampa right now. You see it with I just saw that up in Buffalo, Houston. Yeah.
Buffalo.
So those guys are doing it now. A lot more now. Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see, but I mean, Cliff Kingsbury seems happy. He lost hair.
He's stressed.
He aged about 15 years in that 5-year stint as a head coach. So maybe he's happier being an OC. And maybe that's where his sweet spot is. I think Washington has the perfect setup, right? You have the defensive-minded head coach who's going to be tough on the team, going to be regimented on the team.
He's calling the defense as well.
Well, now he's not calling the defense. They said over the weekend that they've got a defensive coordinator that calls the plays to him, and he calls in the signals. The defensive coordinator's upstairs, so he calls down to what's his name there in Washington, and then he calls out the signals. But my point is that you got the defensive coach.
You know what that's called?
What's that? Oh, it's manager oversight for sure.
He's the DC.
No. It's called setting the next guy up for success. He's
There you
calling
go.
the defense.
Okay, that's fair. So let's just say that is true.
100%.
But what a great
That's the check
setup.
with me. Let's run this.
I like the defensive guy being the head coach. He's tougher, right? He's not so much of a player's coach a lot of times. And then you bring in a guy that is an offensive guru. You don't bring in a guy that you have to oversee on the offensive side. If you're a defensive head coach, you let that do its own thing and you let that run. And I think Washington has shown us all how to do it.
This is the thing. Where was what's the head coach name at the Commanders now? What's his name?
Dan Quinn.
All right, where was
I couldn't think of his name either.
I know. Hey, where was Dan Quinn when he was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys?
He was on the sideline.
He was in the box. So
Was he? I know he was on the sideline at least some of the time.
Always with his hat backwards in the box. My point in saying that is that, yes, he have to rely on his eyes in the box to make the right play call. So he is going to say this guy is the defensive coordinator in the box. Yes, that's what he is. But Dan Quinn is calling the shots on the sideline. He has to be on the sideline now because he's the head coach.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So he's calling. Yeah, every coordinator going to have someone in the box who they trust the most, who can be their eyes in the sky. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, and so we move on through Rookie Watch. We spent a lot of time on Jaden and Caleb, but hey, that was an electric game, a lot of fun to watch. Glad that Jaden was able to play through injury, which showed me a lot as a rookie as well. I mean, he's wrapped up on the sideline, right, in ice and everything, and then he takes it off and goes plays, and he comes back.
He's a gamer, man.
Wraps
He's a
himself
gamer.
up again. I love that.
Quick something. You said something earlier.
Yeah.
With the quarterback hitting the ball off to the big guy, the center.
Yeah.
Obviously, they worked that in practice.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I still don't like that play call on the 1 yard line against a very stout defensive line.
That's what they felt. That's what they felt. They liked it the most, and I'm sure. Now, that was all Caleb Williams' fault on that play.
Yeah.
Because he just shoved the ball into the guy's chest. As a quarterback, you need to make sure, especially handing it off to someone who's not comfortable with taking that ball all the time, and even to a running back, you need to make sure you look that ball into the running back belly.
Yeah, he was looking at Swift, trying to fake a pitch while he's handing off to a lineman, not protecting the football.
Which I promise you, they never practiced that in practice. It was always to just hand the ball off and don't do the other extra stuff.
Right. You can always hand the ball off and then do a pitch fake.
And
you can always do that.
Yes, and then do the pivot. Yes.
Yeah. So Bo Nix, folks, he really impressed this week, in my opinion. Only against Carolina, but still you got to play the game. 28 for 37, 284, 3 touchdowns, and ran for a touchdown. The best we've seen Bo Nix so far this year, Coach?
Yeah, I think so. And to another guy who have played a lot of snaps in college, same with Brock Purdy, you know what I mean? Brock played so many snaps in college. Had he been somewhere else and not Iowa State at the time, or if Iowa State was one of these teams, what they are today, he would have been a high draft pick, I'm sure, because he had a lot of snaps in college. Yeah. Bo being at Auburn, being at Oregon, a lot of snaps in college football. No surprise when you with a head coach and a coordinator who can be in a quarterback-friendly offense, to be able to help with your skill set and what you're able to do. I think the offense is based off of what Bo Nix does best, and which is good. I don't think Sean Payton is running the full system that he runs with, or that he ran with Drew Brees by any means. But I do believe that Bo Nix is definitely. You can see why he. You can see all the things that from him playing a lot of snaps in college, how it's helping him out now in the NFL.
Right.
What'd you see out of Bo this week, Brandon? I mean, we've been pretty critical of Bo Nix. I know I have.
Bo is doing all the right things. I mean, you could tell he's a fiery leader. You could tell he gets you into the right play. Him and Sean Payton have this relationship that is built on a little bit of tough love, and you can see that, but you can also see a lot of moxie when it comes to Nix. He's not afraid to put his head down. He's not afraid to get dirty. He's been very efficient the past few games. This is his first 3 TD game, no interceptions, which is outstanding for a rookie. I get it. It's against the Panthers, but hey, the fact it's the NFL, you're literally you're 5-3 now. You're on the uptrend here. You could pull an upset to Kansas City next time you play them, or this upcoming week. Kansas City's been playing some nail biters. I wouldn't sleep on it. I wouldn't. They did it last year. They beat them last year in Arrowhead, right? And so with a more talented team, I feel like Bo is really putting this team into a situation where they'll be able to compete in that division. And who knows, the way the AFC's been beating each other up, they could sneak in the playoffs.
Okay.
Just be aware of that.
Yeah. The other thing with Bo Nix, I mean, he was a coach's kid too. So
yeah,
I mean,
and he's secretly fast. You know? He can move.
Oh, he can run. He can run now.
Oh, he can run.
He can run.
Yeah. He can run. He can run.
When I watch him play, he reminds me of Tim Tebow every time. I don't know why.
What's up with you and these Tim Tebow comparisons?
I don't know, man.
Tim Tebow was
I got Tebow on the brain, bro. I got Tebow on the brain.
6'3", 250 and ran a 4.8, 4.7.
I watched that Florida documentary, and I see Tim Tebow everywhere. I don't even know if we need to talk about these two kids. Spencer Rattler was benched in New Orleans. Pretty common for Spencer Rattler to get benched at the first team. I guess he'll go into the transfer portal next year. And then Drake May. Not as funny of a story for Drake May. The poor kid went out with a concussion early in that game, was 3 for 6, 23 yards. Coach, you haven't been with us. What are your thoughts about Spencer Rattler? I've said I don't see him as an NFL quarterback personally, but Drake May has really, looked impressive, I thought, and now takes a concussion on a kind of a glancing blow on the back of his head. But give us your thoughts on the two rookies there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with Drake, with the injury, but that was the whole part of him playing this year. They were afraid of him, taking a lot of shots, unnecessary shots, but they wanted to let him sit out and just groom him as an NFL quarterback. And they were going south so fast, and they wanted to give him a shot just to see what he could do, what type of spark he could bring. And he brought it, but it's just unfortunate that, the reason why they was holding him out is, kind of the reason, kind of like why he got hurt, and I hate that for him. But I think he got a huge upsize. Had he been somewhere else and the guys were protecting him and they had a lot of good talent, I think he'd have been in that same conversation with Jaden Daniels and, with Caleb and also with Bo, it's just unfortunate where he is right now. I think some people get caught up. Well, it's the New England Patriots. Well, not what the New England Patriots.
Anymore.
Not
anymore.
But
what do you think about Spencer?
Yeah, Spencer. It's a tough situation with them. They're beat up too. They're banged up. I just believe if they had the pieces around them, offensively, I think he will be much better than what he's shown. You know what I mean? I don't think he's a zero by no means, but he's another guy who I believe that needed time to develop as an NFL quarterback. It's just unfortunate that Carr got hurt, and they will learn.
We may see Spencer transferring to the UFL soon in the transfer portal. That's where him and what's his name out of Carolina, Bryce Young, should probably both be headed. But Nui, where are you at with the Spencer Rattler benching?
It happens, man. His roster's depleted.
That's true. I mean, they are terrible.
It's unfortunate. Now, one thing I will say is, he took some hits. I think he could be a solid NFL quarterback under the right tutelage, under the right system with the players around him, because he can shoot it. He can throw it. Right? He can throw it. Drake May. I think Drake May is Has surprised some people because of his inconsistency in North Carolina. Now I feel like he's a little bit more consistent here, which does help. And it's unfortunate he did get hurt, but he should bounce back. I think he's got a great mentor in Jacoby Brissett to where he can continue to learn and grow. And it's good to have those kind of players around you because you could tell, Jacoby's not a selfish guy. And he's going to give him all the answers to the tests. And I think he's doing great under his tutelage. So, we'll see what happens. Just got to stay healthy, man. Big kid, learn to get down, which he did slide, but it's unfortunate that turf monster got him. So,
Yep.
Yeah, it must have been what it was. So let's move on because we had some big things happen this week. We had some more quarterbacks on fire than I think we've had all season. Obviously, on fire guys are the guys that went above and beyond and were spectacular in their games. Neil, you want to start first and tell us who you thought was just simply on fire this week?
I'll be honest. There's really 4 guys to me that just completely stand out. I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford. Thursday Night Football, there were speculations about him and Cooper Kupp being traded to the Vikings, which was crazy, but I get it. It's his offensive coordinator he won the Super Bowl with. But Sam played really well. I mean, Matt Stafford threw 4 TDs in primetime matchup. He got his receivers back. The Rams look a little bit more dangerous now. Stafford just impresses me. I mean, he only had 2 touchdown passes going into this game, but, he got it back up. So, I mean, that dude can throw the ball with the best of them.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'd put him at one of the most, as far as his arm talent goes, I put him up there with amongst the greats. I mean, that dude can throw a damn strawberry through a submarine. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that dude throws, it's crazy to me because they always say, oh, Mahomes did this, Mahomes does that. Man, he was the originator of that stuff.
Yeah.
No look passes, changing trajectory. I mean, that dude can throw. He's like a shortstop, man. He's just an old guy, old gunslinger. And if you give him time, he will pick you apart. And he did. And nobody picked that defense apart like he had last week. I got a few more, but I'll just let you guys run off with it too. So we might have some of the same guys. Stafford's my lock for this week.
Your excitement is overwhelming me. I had Matthew Stafford too. I think the Rams are the new team to beat in the NFC West. That's what they showed me. I got to go off of what I see. I see the Rams are the team to beat in the West. Jared Goff, 12 for 15, 85 yards, but 3 touchdowns in those 85 yards. How does he continue to put up points and touchdown passes? He's not turning the ball over. But how do you have 3 touchdowns with just 85 yards, Coach? How does that happen?
I'll tell you why.
It's easy when you are able to run the ball successfully.
Thank you.
He's the best back in the league, Tim.
I know.
What the week before he go 18 for 18?
It was 2 weeks ago. He went 18 for 18, and I think he was like 19 of 21 or something the week after that. I mean, he's just been on an incredible run.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about his ratings. This last week was 129. The week before that, 140. The week before that, 153. The week before that, 155. I mean, come on,
incredible.
Man. But when
Jared Goff,
MVP, I don't know.
MVP Goff,
maybe.
Whenever when you're able to run the ball, that success. Let me say this: when I was in high school, right, and we were like in a 32 box. I mean, we ran 32 personnel dang near the entire game. So there was any time I had an opportunity to throw the ball, I led the entire Gulf Coast in touchdown passes.
Wow.
So, and I'm saying that to say because we ran the ball so much and so well, if I threw 3 passes in a game, they were going to either be for big plays or for touchdowns.
Understood. And nobody wants to run the ball
8
anymore.
passes and have 4 tubs.
How about this one? In Cleveland, the Jameis Winston era has begun.
Hey, man.
My man was 27 for 41, 334, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was absolutely cooking, and he had the final drive. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But he beat Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and those Baltimore Ravens. Jameis Winston has changed Cleveland, maybe? What do we think?
I'm not going to say change them. Baltimore Raven had an opportunity to close that game out because he had an interception in his hands,
Dropped it.
and Baltimore is kind of depleted on the defense side of the ball as well. James will give you some gifts. We all know that. But that couldn't have been a more prouder moment for him. I was excited for that game to go the way it did for him. Yep. I thought he deserved that opportunity and that game to come out in his favor. So I'm excited for Jameis, man. Eating W's. How about it? And didn't even know they didn't have decals on their helmets.
He said, play for the decal. Well, we ain't got no decal.
We ain't got no decal. He is a funny guy. I love Jameis Winston.
He's a national treasure, man.
You can't help but love him. You can't help it. Bo Nix, we know he was on fire. We talked about him. But hey, we got some bad quarterbacks to talk about too.
First and foremost, Kyler Murray. Now, hold on now.
I have Kyler Murray and Brady moment, but if you want to talk about him being on fire, please do.
Yeah, Kyler went off 307, 2 TDs, and Justin Herbert got back to being himself. I see Harbaugh took the keys off.
See,
multiple touchdowns, 279 yards.
I didn't look at that as being on fire. I expect that from Justin Herbert.
Okay, no picks, 0 turnovers. I mean, hey, that's pretty good.
I got you.
See, we didn't have your boy on, Josh Allen.
Well, Josh Allen didn't have to do much this weekend, thankfully. For one game, he didn't have to do a whole lot. But Josh Allen's been amazing. Josh Allen, to me, is not only an MVP candidate, but right now he is my favorite player to watch in the NFL from a quarterback perspective.
Lamar Jackson.
I said he's my favorite player because he can do everything Lamar Jackson can do, by the way. So we've talked about this. We'll argue this again if you like.
Coach,
but
is he serious right now?
What can't he do? And the one thing that he can do is that every game, except for the last game, he'll make a throw where you'll go, only Josh Allen can do that.
Lamar made about 10 throws that were dropped the other day. You're like, oh my God, he dropped that.
I think they both do kind of similar things. It's just that
it looks different.
Lamar makes it look more freakish.
That's all it is. Lamar makes it prettier. But if Josh Allen was black, we would talk about Josh Allen the same way we talk about Lamar Jackson. Period.
So, like some new.
For the first time ever,
hey, Josh plays like a brother. He's just rapping.
For the first time ever, it actually hinders Josh Allen to be a white man. Right? It actually hinders him.
I grew up around a bunch of Latinos, man.
Listen, Josh, pay attention. Like There's going to be some stuff coming out, but Josh is the guy that's been ignored and overlooked his entire life. He had to literally email every coach in the country in high school trying to get an offer in college and couldn't get an offer for some reason. So Josh Allen is that underdog guy that continues to impress. I love me some Josh Allen. Thanks for bringing him up. Thanks for bringing him up. Let's get into the bad. Bryce Young was back this weekend because Andy Dalton was in a car accident.
He lives in the garbage juice.
Andy is okay, but Bryce Young, we know, is the landlord of garbage juice. 24 for 37, 224, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions to go along with it. Bryce Young is absolutely terrible. What do y'all say?
Is he terrible, or is it the things around him not as good?
Well, I mean, Andy Dalton didn't look too bad when he came in, right? I mean, he came in and they won right away. So,
and I'm with you on that because he's a seasoned vet, and they kind of know they speed the process is sped up. They speed the process up.
Unfortunately for Bryce, he's not in the model of an. I mean, you know what I mean? He doesn't even have the frame for an NFL player, let alone an NFL quarterback.
I mean, I thought he should have been, if drafted at all, at least 4th, 5th round pick.
Yeah. I'm with you.
If that.
And think about what Carolina gave up to get him.
That's my point. So now,
Thank you, Carolina.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for him where he is. I do think the kid still have some skill sets. It's just unfortunate that he's where he is.
Sure. Okay.
Now, the team that's, and it may not be the player, but the team that's garbage juice is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, you're 100% on that.
If you want to talk about money.
Agree. There's a lot of money tied up in that quarterback for no reason. For no reason. Yes, 100%. We talk about him in a bad way every single week.
We said it from day one.
What's the direct correlation with that guy?
You know what? He ran, another offense in college that was very gimmicky.
Clemson guy.
It was a lot of screens, and in the NFL they get enamored with that and the yards and the touchdowns, and then you don't go back and look at the kid and how he actually plays the position.
Who
To
else?
me,
Who else
he's
is
not an
Clemson?
NFL guy. What's that?
Deshaun Watson.
There you go. But Deshaun Watson was
played-
great in Houston, y'all.
Nah, he played, but they both played in gimmick offenses, though, right?
Nah,
did.
at Houston, though, I will say, I think it's all mental.
old
I
in
think
Houston.
I think
Yeah,
it's been mental
listen,
from him.
I hate to
Messed
say
up,
this,
man.
but the owner of the Houston Texans ruined Deshaun Watson because
Yeah, I
they didn't
agree.
want to pay him a contract. I think that's what it
They
comes
leaked
down
it.
to. Yep, it's all their fault. They protected him for years, and then when they didn't want to have to pay the price tag for Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, they leaked all that information, and I feel bad for Deshaun, but
Yeah.
It's sad.
but it
It's
is
sad
what it
thing.
is at this point.
That's so messed up. The way
30 for 30 coming soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How about Mason Rudolph? 22 for 38, 266, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Still concussed over getting hit with his own helmet a couple of years ago. He's absolutely dog water trash. Is Mason Rudolph?
Oh, God.
Is that not true?
Solid backup. He ain't got to be that
He
bad.
could be a solid backup, but he's
I
not.
mean, he
starting.
actually did better than what old buddy did.
Okay,
I
so
think he wasn't that
you
bad.
don't
It's
agree?
just he ran into a buzzsaw against Detroit.
Okay. The entire Saints quarterback room belongs in the garbage juice. Spencer was benched, and Jake Hayner came in and went a full 9 of 17 for 122. Dak Prescott, he makes an appearance in the garbage juice because of his 2 interceptions when it mattered. His 2 interceptions when the game was still in play. I don't care about the late
Third
touchdown.
consecutive multiple pick game, by the way.
Third.
I have to say this, and we talk about the interceptions with Dak Prescott, and I'm glad we brought that up. If I'm Dak Prescott, like I'm getting into a fight with some of my wideouts, and I say that because if I give you 13, 16 targets, and you mailbox on that 1 interception, and you don't go up and break the ball up, like first off, don't mailbox and I'm throwing you the ball, telling me you're open, I throw you the ball in a tight situation, and you don't go up and defend the ball.
Don't you hate that?
Like, there's been interceptions this year, and especially these last 3 games, that wideouts, you have to go defend the ball. So, like, that's another reason why some of Dak Prescott's interceptions are there, where some of those other quarterbacks get bailed out by their wideouts by becoming a defender. But if I'm giving you that many targets and you don't defend the ball, like, bro, I'm not throwing you the ball no more. Like, seriously, I'm not giving you that many targets anymore.
I'm afraid that CeeDee Lamb is going to be a story much like Amari Cooper and Des Bryant, where both those receivers. I know that it was supposedly about money with Amari. I felt like both of them were extremely frustrated. I feel like Dak isn't the best at giving his receivers opportunities on jump balls. I feel what you're saying, Coach. I do. Sometimes you got to fight. But the interception to CeeDee that he was trying to throw to CeeDee Lamb was absolutely terrible. That was a terrible throw.
CD can't fade away from the ball.
You got
I'm
to deep
telling
play
you,
DB, bro.
You cannot fade away from the ball. And
Okay.
this is not the first time that CD have put Dak in that situation. Those guys are flat out divas, and maybe it comes with the Cowboys, who they are, because I see they dress code. I don't know, but these guys are flat out divas here. And
No question.
I hate to say it, and that
Can't stand
tells me a
for
lot
it.
about who you are. Talent is talent, but it shows me a lot about who you are when you get on that 120, and it just it's mind boggling to me.
Okay.
when I see that.
Speaking of that mentality, I've got one more guy to talk about, and I think it's important that we address this with Coach Harris on here on the show this week. Anthony Richardson took himself out of the game in the third quarter on a 3rd and goal play. When asked about it, said, "I was tired." Now, in the history of football, I have never, and I do mean never, seen a quarterback tap his helmet in the middle of a drive. I've had one time as a coach, a quarterback come to me and tell me that it was time for the other guy to go in the game, which was Ty Bell, when I coached with the Weatherford Bullets. And at that point, this was about mid-first quarter. This quarterback
Hey, you
was
had the name
struggling.
drop.
He was a young kid. I'm not going to say who the quarterback was, But he came to me and he said, you need to put Ty in. I just don't have it today. And I said, if I do that, you're never going back in the game, ever, unless Ty gets hurt. And he goes, I understand.
He didn't have it because he was tired, or he didn't have it because he was just mentally not there?
He didn't have it because he knew Ty Bell was on the bench and a better quarterback than him, and at some point was going to be taking over.
So mentally he wasn't there.
Into your head. But from the standpoint of I'm coming out of the game because I'm tired, Coach, you're the quarterback. You do whatever you have to do to get to that huddle on the next play. Am I right? Am I crazy here? Am I picking on Anthony Richardson or where are y'all at with this? Because it blew my mind to see a quarterback tap his helmet.
Yeah, had it been a long run, still maybe not tap out, but maybe just call a timeout.
You could do that. You call timeout, and he said, there was a lot of running on the play before, but
yeah,
don't forget in the first half he was 2 of 15, and then he taps his helmet when you're in a situation to take the lead in a game that is literally going to give you first place in your division. What are we doing, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, again, like if it's a situation to where you had a long run or multiple long runs back to back, and the coach is about to call a pass play, that's not a good formula.
Okay.
Just call timeout. But don't tap out. Don't let it be shown and known that, you know what I mean? I'm for that. But don't just take yourself out. Call a timeout in that situation. And I get it's been blown up before. Like last year I saw, and the Cowboys was about to close out a game against somebody. And it was third down in whatever the situation was. And I mean, Micah Parsons and whoever the other guy, Lawrence, and all those guys was coming off the ball. I mean, running a 4.240 off the ball. And I just remember just saying it on TV, and I'm looking at the D-line, and they're exhausted. And I'm sitting here, Coach, call timeout. Coach, call timeout. Your best D-linemen are tired.
Right. Give
them a breather so on this fourth down, they can get up to the quarterback. And I think it was either Minnesota or whomever it was, and they called a timeout. But the reason why they called a timeout is because Michael Parsons told them to call a timeout. So they did that. And fourth down, whatever, lo and behold, they come off the ball, get a sack, ball game over. This was last year here at Jerry World. My point in saying that is, had he came off and just said, you know what, call a timeout, I'm with that part. But just to tap out and come out and don't be in there for that next play, I don't know. Because I've done that before. I've called a timeout when I was exhausted.
That's fair. I'm good with that. But you can't. Yeah. Brandon, you played quarterback. Did that ever cross your mind to come out of the game in the middle of the series?
I wasn't coming out.
Never. No. There's all. I mean, I say these things even with my quarterbacks. Like, make sure you're in top tier condition because, hey, as explosive as he is, he could have an 80-yard run, and we've all experienced this in high school or youth or whatever. You have an 80-yard run and you run for a touchdown, and you see go back and you look and there's a yellow flag, and you got to do this all over again, and you are gassed, right? Gassed. Obviously, the smart thing to do is to call a timeout. What I see with Anthony Richardson is a lot of immaturity on his behalf. I don't think he is adjusting to the game very well, and that just could be due to inexperience of not having a lot of college starts under your belt. Is he a phenomenal athlete? Absolutely. Can he throw the ball? Probably better than anybody, maybe. But right now, I mean, you're completing under, 40% of your passes?
Yeah,
and you're a franchise NFL quarterback?
We want more from him, but he is inexperienced, to your point. He needs some grooming.
Yeah.
But he also needs a life coach because you don't come out of the game in the middle of the series.
I think he needs to sit and learn from Flacco.
I would sit him. If it's me, I'm sitting him for the rest of the year, Coach.
It's not over for him, but he needs to learn.
No, I'm sitting him down for Flacco, though. I'm teaching you a lesson in how to be an NFL quarterback.
It goes back to what Tom Brady said, and I believe it. Like, there's only a certain amount of guys who can play as a rookie. And we see in the three top guys that we think that's really good playing as a rookie.
But those three top guys have had multiple starts in college.
And that's my point. Like, Peyton Manning had so many starts in college.
So many starts, yeah.
You know, and you look at all those guys had so many starts in college. And my point in saying that, too, as well, is I hate when these franchises get these young quarterbacks and you got these vets. You look at the Sam Darnold. You look at my guy up at over there. We just talked about over there at Andy Dalton. Like these guys played a lot of games in the NFL. You look at to the point you said Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's the same thing with in Pittsburgh right now. That's why Justin Fields should learn. Sit back and learn this game at the right. These guys, for whatever reason, well, he's old and washed up. Like, no, these guys should be starting, grooming these young guys.
Agreed.
You know, I remember when Vince Young first came out, and he was about to get ready to go to the Tennessee Titans. And they
got that killer out there.
Yeah, man. They asked Steve McNair to groom Vince Young. Well,
sure.
Those are the things that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think these older guys need to let these older guys groom the younger guys.
I 100% agree with you. That's not a question. I think that we've been talking about that since the beginning of time. Brandon and I, since the beginning of this podcast, of quarterbacks and do you play them now? And I think we did the research, and there was no quarterback that ever started their very first game of their rookie year, their very first game to go on and win a Super Bowl, outside of maybe Peyton Manning if he started in his first game.
Ben Roethlisberger was
Ben
close.
Roethlisberger didn't start till week 3. He didn't start game 1 of week 1.
Brock Purdy was close.
Close, but no cigar. So for me, it's interesting.
He made an NFC title game.
It's just let guys sit, though. You know, and that also he didn't start his first game as a rookie either. So
I low-key think if Brock didn't get hurt, they'd have been in the Super Bowl.
I think so, too, because the Eagles weren't very good, in my opinion. Good enough to be a Super Bowl team. Anyway, let's move on to Brady moments. I know you would love to talk about at least one guy, but I haven't seen who your Brady moment is, Brandon, but let me have it.
The only one that I had was Jameis Winston. Wasn't it? Now, I saw this on Red Zone, and it was just a nail-biter. And you're thinking that, they're not going to win. Baltimore's come back. Under a minute and a half? He threw a touchdown pass under what was it, like 45 seconds left in the game?
Yeah.
Dotted it. And
38 yards.
I know I didn't break it down entirely because I didn't watch the full drive, but it was just good to see that Jameis still has something.
He does. Absolutely.
He does. You know, I actually picked him up on my fantasy league.
Oh, good call.
I should have started him.
That's a good call.
Because he had more fantasy points than Mr. Prescott. But, man, hey, kudos to Jameis, man. He did his thing.
Kyler Murray.
I'm so happy for him.
No worries. Kyler Murray, one more time, gets another Brady moment. He gets the ball down 2 with 5:01 left in the game. He's on his own 11-yard line. He gets the Cardinals in position for all the way down to the 16-yard line for the winning field goal to win 28-27. I get to see Kyler Murray take on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears in person this coming Sunday. Very excited about that. This will be the 5th time I've seen Kyler. What's that?
That's the
Call of Duty came out last week. Call of Duty came out last week.
Did it really?
Yeah, it sure did. You're sleeping, bro. It came out on the 25th. So, this is second Brady moment of the season.
Post Call of Duty, Kyler.
And hey, I'm going to throw in Jordan Love, even though he wasn't very good for most of the game. With a minute 48 left on Sunday, he drove the Packers down for the winning field goal in a 7-play, 64-yard drive.
That was Malik Willis.
I'm sorry, that was Malik Willis. That's what I meant to put down here because Jordan Love
and moves him to 3-0 as a Packers
Willis
starting
might
quarterback.
be the starter for Green Bay. I think they've overpaid Jordan Love. What do we think? Yes?
No,
I'm not going to
overpay Jordan Love.
I'm not going to say they overpaid him.
They overpaid him.
It's just that he's been hurt. You know, he's been hurt. The guy's He's a winner.
Okay, we're going to find out. We are going to find out.
Maybe Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
I apologize. I meant to say Malik Willis after Jordan Love is stunk it out for the whole game. He gets hurt with the groin. Malik Willis comes in and saves the day. Brandon, I would think you'd love that as you are a huge Malik Willis fan. So I would think that you would love that. Let's get into a special segment, folks. by the time you see this, Halloween will be on the day. The Halloween is coming up on Thursday. This show will come out tomorrow. So we're going to do a little thing, and we're going to compare players to villains. We each have a few examples that we want to work on. So, Brandon, this was your idea. I'm going to let you take it and start first.
Funny.
Give us a few players and compare them to some of these mass killer villains on Halloween.
Now, the Halloween edition. We have our famous villains, and we're going to compare them with quarterbacks. Now, this guy's large. He can move, right? He'll run you over. He'll jump over you. Big old dude, Mr. Leatherface. Remember Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre? With the chainsaw? That is Josh Allen. Leatherface,
Okay.
Josh Allen.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He'll run over you. He runs through you, right? And he also breaks hearts, too, especially if you see him at his house. Think about it. When you go to his house, more than likely going to take that L.
You're
He
going to be in
doesn't
trouble.
lose very much in Buffalo,
Okay.
right? My next one, he gives D coordinators nightmares. All the time, just gives them fits. One of the scariest players to ever grace the NFL. We're going to call him Freddy Krueger, Lamar Jackson.
Okay. I like
Right?
that.
Hide your kids, put the women to bed. He going to put your defense to sleep.
Right?
You better not get caught sleeping.
I like that. I like that. What else?
And
you got?
the scariest freaking villain ever at Crystal Lake, he just knows how to get it done. It's ugly, he's grimy, but he shows up and shows out. That's Mr. Patrick Mahomes, a.k.a. Jason.
Oh, wow. Okay. I
Friday
like
the
it.
13th. You like those? You see
Yeah,
that?
I took it a little bit different way. But I like what you have there. Coach Harris, were you able to put any of these together for us?
Hey, I tell you, man, that was pretty impressive. Yeah, I have a couple of those guys there too as
Okay.
well. And you know, my villain, the first one, you know, is Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, my gosh. We're going way back.
That's a scary looking thing.
Scary dude, man. Scary dude can fly, can walk, run,
Mm-hmm.
eat people up. You know, you never know if he's a scarecrow or if he's just out there as himself. The Jeepers Creepers, man. And this
Okay.
guy, let's say he's fast, elusive, you know, can take on so many different people at the same time. Most villains can't do that.
Okay. That's
And
true.
that's Lamar Jackson.
Oh,
You
Yes,
see
sir.
what he
Okay.
did a couple weeks ago, right? He battered a guy down, stiff armed him. He broke loose from another guy. He took on about 12 dudes on the defensive side of the ball
fair enough.
and a dime in the end zone.
Dots all over.
Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers
Yeah.
Creepers.
That's a good one.
Jeepers Creepers.
Where'd you get those beavers?
You know?
He's singing the song.
Where'd
Okay.
you get those eyes?
Hey, man, but look, we were spot on right here. This guy here, he's fast, but he's not. Is an illusion. Right? You're running through the woods and he's just walking. But you done failed 12 times, you done ran 5 miles, and you look up, he's right behind you.
Sounds like
And-
Michael Myers.
Was it
Or Jason.
Jason. To your point, B, Pat Mahomes, man. He ain't the fastest, but he's very elusive,
And he's the deadliest.
but he's deadly.
He's deadly.
You know, and just when you thought you had him down, and defense been holding him there, and he's go Pat Mahomes moment on you,
Okay.
as they say, a Tom Brady moment.
Yep.
Yes.
You know?
That's what he does.
Okay.
And that's what he does, man. That's what he does. My next guy, he's funny. Give some scary vibes. He pop in and out of your nightmares. He's tugging on you. He's even freaking with some of the women. Just crazy.
Deshaun Watson?
And that's but he's lethal though, man. And that's Freddy Cougar. You know,
Okay.
that's the Freddy Cougar, man. And
Who's the
my
quarterback?
my Freddy Cougar guy is Matthew Stafford.
Oh, I love that.
And
Matthew Stafford makes an appearance.
I only brought up the whole part of all because of what his wife said on the podcast.
Oh, that was crazy.
What did she say? I didn't hear
He
it.
slept with his backup quarterback in Georgia.
No.
He wouldn't go out. He wouldn't seal the deal, shut the studio down with her.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
That's
Wild.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. So that's my Freddy Cougar moment.
Okay. Okay. I took it a little different way than both of you. I've got Josh Allen. He's a scary dude. He's a big dude, right? You see him walking down, you're a DB, you want to get out of the way. You don't want to try to tackle Josh Allen. He's a slayer. Right. He will kill you with no remorse. Jason is who I have for Josh Allen. Josh Allen is Jason. Patrick Mahomes, I went a whole different way than both of you. This guy, he will make your life miserable. And every time you think you have the puzzle figured out with him or the Chiefs, no, sir. Patrick Mahomes strikes again. You think you're getting out of trouble, but you're not. Patrick Mahomes is jigsaw. Because he will mess up your mind, boy. He will make you think you got it.
I like that one.
I knew you
don't got it.
Oh, yeah, a jigsaw.
Now, there's a guy that we didn't talk about, right? There's a little dude out there, dresses in green, wears a big old green hat, and he's about 2 feet tall, and he runs around stabbing people all over the place. The leprechaun. That's Kyler Murray. Little Kyler Murray midget running around stabbing people all over the place.
Running around like a toddler.
More touchdown. And then I've got one more. I left this for last because my good friend Brandon already said it. This guy, he keeps his foes up at night, nightmares. He's running through your dreams. You can't fall asleep. If you do, you're in trouble, right? You're not getting any sleep the week that you play against this guy if you're a defensive coordinator. And that's Lamar Jackson as Freddy Krueger. I 100% agree with you. Love that. Love that segment. Let's go Halloween. All right.
Man.
Jeepers Creepers. That's one of the best things I've heard. We've got our last segment of the show. This has been a great show, our longest show to date outside of the draft show. So thank you, Coach Harris, for coming on and dropping all the knowledge and the dimes that you have. We're going to go into a little trick or treat, which is essentially buy or sell. And we've each written stuff for each other, and we don't know what it is. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Coach Harris, I'm going to start with you. And then, Brandon, I'll come to you. And then hopefully Brandon wrote some trick or treats for me. He may not have.
Quick rundown. There we go.
Here we go. Coach Harris. A rookie quarterback could win MVP this year. Trick or treat?
Treat.
Ooh, and who would that quarterback be, do you think?
What?
Yes. The young man with the Commanders.
Oh, boy.
I tell you, man, when you talk about those type of awards, like you got to look at from where the team was into where they are now and what they're able to do with some of that same talent. Yeah, coaching has a lot to do with it. But at the same time, that player can unlock coaches the same way players can unlock other talent on the team. And some coaches can unlock those players as well. For what they're doing, unbelievable, man. And, you know, C.J. Stroud was great last year, but this kid here is he's doing it just as good.
I have to agree. I can't argue, can't debate. The pocket quarterback is dead. Trick or treat?
Treat.
Even though everything you said about Jared Goff this week, the pocket quarterback is dead.
Well, Jared Goff still is athletic enough to manipulate the pocket.
Exactly.
But these guys on defense are so fast and so explosive now, man. And so you got to have some athletic ability about yourself.
Okay.
Something.
Like the guys nowadays of the Peyton Mannings and all that can't move, oof, trouble.
Trouble.
Only one who can't move is Kurt, but he's got a processor.
But he has something in his mind that he can,
It's his
Quick with your
processor.
brain, not your
But
feet.
not a lot of them got it though, Tim.
not a lot of them have.
No,
Not a lot
I
of them
agree.
have his mind.
I got two more for you, Coach.
Yep.
The Dallas Cowboys can and will make the playoffs. Trick or treat?
Big trick.
Yeah, we said big trick. It's like toilet paper all over the house. Golly.
Yeah, that's definitely a trick.
Big trick there, man.
Okay.
Hey, they're on their own right now.
All righty. Last one. We will see a rookie or two rookies take their team to the playoffs this year. Trick or treat?
Treat.
Okay. Just for fun, which rookies will be in the playoffs this year? We'll look back at this in a few months.
Right. I think, again, Jaden Daniel can do it. And I believe Bo Nix can.
Oh, in the AFC West, we have a prediction that the rookie quarterback will take the Broncos to the playoffs, even though the Chargers and the Chiefs are in that division.
Well, I think two teams could come out of there.
Okay.
And I think
So we don't think Caleb can get there with the Bears. The Bears are pretty much shot this year. We don't think they can make it. The division's too good.
I just believe that
The division's strong.
the division is strong. You got Green Bay and
Minnesota, Detroit.
Yep.
I mean, Detroit might be the best team in all of the NFC.
yeah, and then you got the Falcons who will win their division. You got the Eagles now who back where they need to be, and the Commanders. So, and then you probably gonna have somebody out west.
Okay.
So however many that is, I don't think Chicago Bears make it only for that reason, because the division they're in.
Yeah,
That
they are.
division.
They got certainly two of the top NFC teams, if not maybe three, if the Packers can get their stuff together. So, Brandon, we'll move to you. This is going to be a lot of fun. Coach Kyle Shanahan should be fired if the 49ers do not make the playoffs this year. Trick or treat?
Trick.
As much as you talk about him,
Get it?
trick
Hold on,
means
wait.
you don't fire him. Treat means, yes, fire him.
Treat. Fire him.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. We just had to make you understand. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The 49ers will have an epic second half of the season, win the West, and make a playoff run. Trick or treat?
Treat.
Of course you'll say treat.
I
mean, this is
again,
your
I don't
trick or treat. I
expect
can't argue
anything
with you.
except win the division, get in the wild card. I don't
Okay.
see anything further than that.
All right. I got two more for you. Shador Sanders should be the first quarterback taken off the draft board next year. Trick or treat?
Trick. Only because I want to see him go to a better team. I don't want him go and see him to a dumpster fire. I want to see him with a solid team.
That's fair.
But should he be the
I
number
just
one
want him to
pick?
have success. I don't want him to be the number one pick.
Should he be the
sounds
number
good.
one pick?
No.
Should he? Not will he be. Should he be?
Travis should.
Travis should. Okay. I don't think there's any first-round quarterbacks coming out right now.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Cam Shador will take it. Everybody else, I don't know.
They'll get taken. I don't think that they're first-round quarterbacks, though.
Shador,
yeah, they are.
Shador is a
Yeah,
first
they
round
are.
quarterback.
Okay.
If Bo Nix was a first round quarterback,
No, that's true. That's
Shador
true.
Sanders
Quarterbacks
is
are
a
always
first
going to
round
be taken.
quarterback.
The
Cam
last
Ward.
one I've got for you, this is going to be a tough one. The Jets can turn their season around and end up in the playoffs. Trick or treat?
Trick.
Over with.
Oh,
Over with. Yeah, I have to agree. I wanted more for Aaron Rodgers. I wanted more for the Jets. It just doesn't seem to – it's not going to work out. It's
You
not
stick
going
a
to work
fork
out.
in them.
Stick a fork in them. They're done. Well, that's going to do it unless, Brandon, you got something for me. If
I do.
not, we're done. All right.
Are
You
the
did.
Dallas Cowboys a playoff contender? Trick or treat.
Trick.
Will Lamar Jackson win his third MVP this season?
It's a good one.
Come on, Tim.
Do I say what should happen or what will happen?
Say what will happen, because we know what's going to happen.
Okay. I'll say treat. What will happen is if Lamar makes to the playoffs, they will once again give him the MPP, but it should be Josh Allen. It should be Josh Allen. Because without Josh Allen on the Bills, the Bills don't exist. With Lamar, if Lamar took a few games out of Baltimore, they would simply hand the ball off to Derrick Henry.
No.
Without issue.
Bro,
So,
they've been doing this without Derrick Henry. I am tired of this narrative.
I understand. Again, Josh
No,
Allen
you
can do
don't.
all the same
They've been the
things.
number one rushing team, even with Mark Henry in the backfield.
Back me up. Josh Allen can do everything that Lamar can do. It just looks sexier when Lamar does it.
But
stop.
Buffalo defense is better.
Okay.
Right
I
now.
don't. Maybe this year. They certainly weren't better last year.
Right
This
now.
Because last year the Ravens were only giving up an average of 10 points a game. So
So you admitted that Lamar will win it again.
I think he will. I think the media
Now-
loves to give Lamar that award. So yes.
Will the New York Jets find a way to turn it around, or is this Aaron Rodgers' last season?
Well, that was kind of a confusing question.
It is a loaded question.
I'm going to say
If they turn
Trick.
it around, will Aaron Rodgers come back?
Trick. Aaron Rodgers will not be back, and the Jets
It's
will
over
not
with.
be able to turn this around.
Okay.
Why would
And
Aaron?
last one.
Can you answer that part? Why you think Aaron Rodgers won't be back?
'Cause I look at body language, Coach, and he looks miserable. He does. He looks like, why did I do this? They've done everything they could to make him feel comfortable. They brought in all the players he wanted. They say they fired the coach for him. I don't know if that's true, but they've done everything they could to make Aaron Rodgers comfortable, and it's still not working. At some point, I think if you're Aaron Rodgers, you just go, you know what? I've had a good run. I'm done. Why go through this again? So he looks miserable to me, which is why I think the dysfunction with the organization, I just don't think is what he signed up for. I don't think we see him back.
Now,
Do you agree? Disagree? I mean, you asked the question, so I assume you have a thought.
I think he comes back.
Yeah, I
I don't think he goes out like that.
I hope not, but that's just my.
I don't
my
think
take
his
off watching
mentality
him.
would let him go out like that.
if he's healthy and
He's playing.
in his right frame of mind, I think he'd come back and a fresh start with Devontae Adams. I think a fresh start with whomever the OC would be and whomever the head coach would be, and I think he'd come back for that reason.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me pose this real quick before you get to the last one, Brandon. If he comes back, is it a LeBron James situation where he names the head coach and the offensive coordinator? He makes that decision.
Man,
Whatever
I mean,
that
that's close for 3-0 right now with Reddick.
Well, yeah,
I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying, is that the case? If Aaron Rodgers says, I'll come back, but you're hiring this guy as the head coach, period.
whatever that decision may be, which I don't know, I just believe that either way, he'll come back because you got to think about, anyone of his caliber, legacy can be on the line, as people talk about all the time.
That's true.
And they
good
try
point.
to put Russ in that situation. I'm like, wait a minute, you can't put Russ in that situation about legacy. Look what he's done.
He's already
Yeah.
done everything he needed to do.
Yeah, but this is like, everything has fallen off right now this year for the Jets. So,
Fair.
yeah.
What can go wrong has gone wrong.
Facts. It's been a mess.
Last
Black
one.
down
This
here.
historic rookie season of Jaden Daniels. It's very much hand in hand with the RG3 rookie season. Does Jaden Daniels win a playoff game this season? Trick or treat. Ooh,
I'm going to say trick. And it's not because Jaden Daniels doesn't have the ability. He will win playoff games in his career. I think he's better than RG3 from the situation that he looks very comfortable in the pocket. No problem for him to throw from the pocket. RG really depended on his legs a lot. First read wasn't there. He would be taken off. Jaden doesn't do that. My only scare for him, he's already got the rib injury. He doesn't protect himself when he does take off running, right? He's got to learn that. But
He's a wild
I
man
think,
when he runs.
like any rookie quarterback, you get into the playoffs, it's a different feel, man. And I just don't think as a team, Washington's going to be ready for that. So I say trick. I think they'll get there, but I think they'll lose the first game.
Sounds good.
Is that fair? Am I being unfair to the kid?
That's it, man.
I think that's a good observation or whatever you may say with it. Yeah, I mean, take the rib out and You know,
Get some Kevlar. What is
yeah,
it?
don't
Like
worry about
Romo had the armor.
Listen, he's got to
yeah.
stop thinking he can run through
Kevlar.
tackles. You know, it's okay to slide and play for the next play, and he's got to learn that. And I think he will, but he took a lot of big hits in college. We talked about this coming into the NFL. He's taken some hits this year. You know, just like AR5, I guess. Stop taking these hits, man. Protect yourself. You know, these guys
Right.
are huge. These are not college kids anymore. These are
And
grown
he's
men.
he's a bigger dude, you know, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and he's still taking some lumps.
But you still at the quarterback position. That's something that you're not accustomed to doing, is taking that many hits
Right.
like that. And he would learn, to the point you just said. This is not college, bro.
These are grown men. You
Yeah.
gotta get down. And he's not a big dude, right? He's pretty
Right.
slight. You know, his build worries me, but his ability is really, it jumps off the tape. It jumps off the TV.
Right.
He's extraordinary. I do think he's ahead of Caleb right now. Who's going to be better in the end? I don't know. No, I don't think any of us know. We can talk about it, but we don't know. That's going to close the show, man. We had a great show this time. Thanks
fun,
for
man.
sticking with us. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the QB Huddle. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Look for all of us on all the social medias at QB Huddle. Get involved. For my co-host, Brandon Newey, and our very special guest host, Coach Shannon Harris, I'm Tim Smith. Until next week, keep those chains moving, folks.
See ya.